Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. We're doing a driveway extension here. We arrived on the job site and it was already dug down. It was over excavated about 12 inches below finished surface. So it's going to have a lot of base underneath it, in other words, because we got to bring it up to within about 4 inches. We only want to do 4 inches of new concrete here. And we're going to do rebar, number 3 rebar, 2-foot centers, fiber mesh reinforcement, 3000 psi. Here's some of the base we're bringing in, and what that is just recycled concrete that's been ground up. Typically, you see a lot of that being used on paver installs, because that's the only thing really supporting it. Now in a poured-in-place concrete, it can pretty much support itself, because it has steel in it and it's all one piece. But this is optimal. You could actually, when this is all said and done with this kind of base and concrete on top of it and rebar, fire mesh, you could drive a fire truck over this with no problem at all. As a matter of fact, this particular homeowner is he does work for the fire department, and that's where he came up with this particular design, watching them install the slabs around a fire department. Although their concrete goes in a little thicker, but they do have a foot of base under it. So if you notice, the existing driveway there has the 6-inch gaps. That used to be artificial turf. It didn't work out very well from what I'm understanding. The artificial turf has an infill of sand, and since it's downhill and it's raining or you're washing your driveway, all the sand gets washed out of the artificial turf down on the driveway, and then it's like walking on marbles basically. So we're just going to get the elevation. We ended up doing 3 lifts of base and compacting in order to put base in correctly and get it compacted with just with a plate compactor. You have to do it in lifts. 4-inch lifts pretty much is your max. So we came in 4-inch compacted, drop another 4 compact, drop another 4 compact. And then you know that's going to be really tight. And also water is pretty crucial as well when you're compacting a base. Too much water is bad. Not enough water is bad. It has to be, perfect. If you put too much water in, you're going to have to set and wait a long time before you can compact. You may be days out before you can actually move on to the next step. So instead of the artificial turf going back in there, it's just going to be gravel. It's going to be round rock, decorative. Here's another load going in. We've established our elevation. Now we can fine tune the grade. There's actually a lot of videos at this particular house coming up. We have a poured in place wall, some columns poured in place, and a bunch of little odds and ends. But this driveway extension is the first one. Really, if you really want to compact base really well and get the right amount of water into the entire load, equally, you really have to turn it and add water before you even drop it in the hole. Here we're just cutting the 3/8 rebar And we're going to also dowel in, so we're not running a gap next to the existing. We're just going to tie it in tight. And I'm just rodding this solo, and I'm using my 6-foot Milwaukee red stick. It's an 8-foot width, but my Milwaukee's only 6 foot, so I had to do, go back and forth. So I didn't put any wood stakes in the middle of that 6-inch run gap. I just filled it up with a little base, and that'll hold it from bowing in from the weight of the concrete. That's a 12-inch wide, 1/2-inch radius walking edger. So the first time we bowl floated it up and down the hill, now we're going to cross bowl float it. And when we crossed it over with the 4-footer, we found some holes, so we're sprinkling some concrete back into the low areas there. You can see a low area right there as the bowl float goes over it. And that'll take a little sprinkling back. And there's the funny trowel going on. That's just a trowel with a long pole on it. We have one control joint in here off the corner of the house. And what that does, it weakens the concrete at that point, and then that way if the concrete wants to crack, hopefully it cracks within that line instead of just wherever it wants. So that's my 5-inch by 12-inch square trowel, which I really like because it's broken in very nicely. I also use that for doing stucco. It's a nice size it's kind of the all-purpose trowel. The winner for the Milwaukee radio is Leo Huang, Leohuang. Contact me, and I'll have Milwaukee mail you out the unit. Thanks for participating. Right now I'm going down on the sliders, fiberglass slider boards, built-in knee pads. And here's the 50% horsehair, 50% nylon concrete broom. Every couple of strokes I like to soak the broom and clean it up a little bit. Shake all the excess water off because you really don't want too much water on the broom. I just do that for cleaning more than anything, because otherwise you're dragging the slurry all around. So that gives you an extra parking spot for a vehicle if you need a spot. Now you have one. And this particular, now that we're stripping it, this is about, we're looking at about a week and a half out. So it's curing out really slowly. And that's because the homeowner here is keeping it really wet. He's wetting it every 2 hours every day during sunlight hours. That's why it's kind of curing out slowly, but inevitably it'll all be white. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next ones, because I think our next one's going to be the poured in place wall, which is a nice form setup. Have a good one.